Welcome to Ancient News, your source for the hottest internet news with our host, Eric Baskerville. And we got John Kwame in the house. Special guest tonight, James Roderick, kicking it with us. Hopefully Eugene and Bennett will be here. I'm your mixing board guy, DJ Two Coats in the house. We got a lot of hot topics tonight. And we'll get right to it here in a second. Eric is a essential delivery man and sexy Latino. John Kwame, real estate mogul and budding photographer. James Roderick, the service industry warrior and the deep knowledge guru of all things
This is true.
nerdish and coolish. Oh, and there's the Bennett.
Right here.
Bennett Elliott is our
Gentlemen.
resident literary expert and social commentator. He's got a book coming out, which we are going to talk about tonight. And I'm DJ Two Coats, digital renaissance man, and most likely full of shit. So,
until it's been proven, we don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what the ladies tell me. But anyway, Eric, if you want to take it away, I know you got the topics on deck tonight.
All right, so this is something that I was talking about. We should definitely talk about this time around that we weren't able to get to, because I mean we got cut off because we broke and we can't afford Zoom Pro until now. But I really want to get into Bennett's book, and that's the main thing that I want to start off with. Bennett, we don't know anything about this, so can you give us a synopsis on what we're talking about?
Yeah, so it's basically a crime story, but it's like hallucinogenic. And the whole point of the book is that there were two guys that were in Vietnam together in a platoon, and they get out and they set up in St. Louis. They set up like a crime empire, and they have a bar that they launder all the money through, and they become very, very successful at what they do. And then all of that ends when sort of the feds come in and something happens. You don't quite know what. And then it flips like 20, 25 years later. And the guy from St. Louis who runs the empire, his son is going to pick up, basically, when he was a little kid, he overheard something that he always remembered. And his dad was a big fucking gangster. But he remembered where some money was kept. And his old man dies or gets fucked up. He doesn't really die, but he gets fucked up. And his old man is telling the story in like a coma. And so the son is in a car and he's driving to where his father's former partner lives, and they haven't spoken in years either. All three of them haven't spoken. And he knows that guy knows exactly where the money is. So he's in the car to go meet him, and then in the process of trying to get this money, which is all, of course, stolen and was hidden, and there's a bunch of it, as they're doing that, they basically get into a situation where they figure out who the money was stolen from, and they try not to get killed while getting the money. And the old man is telling the story from in the coma. But
don't tell us the whole story.
But that's it. That's it.
I want.
That's
Like,
that's
I
the whole
was about to say,
story.
I was like,
that's the whole story.
I was like, yo, are we about to do an audio?
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
That's the setup. Is this like a
starting to love you, and I'm like
novel?
visualizing everything.
I'm like, that's
Yeah. But that's it. That's the whole story.
There's a 99.9% chance that this shit actually really happened, though.
Yeah. Well,
what's that
one of the
disclaimer? Like, look, it's clearly coincidental.
yeah, clearly. Well,
this is just a story.
One of the characters, one of the two main characters, the guy that's the former partner, the uncle, he is based on a real guy that I grew up around and did own a bar, but it wasn't St. Louis, it was in Kansas City. And he became a big time coke, like moved a lot of coke ostensibly for the mob in Kansas City. And his partner was also black, and I think that they had met in Vietnam. Right. So it's in terms of the story, one of the people is really, at least 50% of him is based on somebody that I knew, but everybody else, and then his partner, that was just another thing. It was an odd thing for the 70s because one of them was black and one of them was white, and they did this together and they were very successful. But so
I was just watching this on Investigation Discovery 3 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But like that's the whole story. And the only other thing to really add is that it gets extremely psychedelic and weird at certain points. Like weird shit happens. But it's a dude in a coma telling you the story. So
Nice.
Jeez, that's crazy. Was he
Bennett, do
okay?
you have a
Okay, I
website
gotta
that we
ask,
can pull
right?
up?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Man, I ain't paying
Like-
for shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
and
spoiler.
that's why I respect you, Jamie. I respect the fact that you were like, if you're really my friend and it's really that good, why wouldn't
I ain't paying for shit.
specifically
Like, spoiler alert, right?
when it's digital? It's hard.
Is
It's hard
this
for me.
guy is this guy that's telling the story from his coma? Was he involved in the murder?
Well, he was involved in
Don't
a lot
tell.
of murders.
Don't tell.
Yeah, no, because he used to run a
Buy the
crime
book.
empire. Yeah,
Buy
yeah.
the
That
book.
sounds
By the
really
book.
fucking good though. Like, cause
Yeah,
now,
By the
because
book.
how does he know everything? Right?
It's the proudabyss.com.
The Proud Abyss.
Yeah. yeah.
Oh, okay. That's you.
It's that thing I keep flogging online. Yeah.
Oh, no shit. Well, now I got something else to do.
Yeah.
Shit, congratulations, man. Fuck.
Yeah,
I think I wrote
no.
a short
Hell yeah,
story one
dude.
time and I lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely the
Big
story that
Samson Dark Horse is what it's called.
Yeah, that's the name. Big Samson Dark Horse.
That's coincidentally what I call
That's the
something
porn name.
else.
Is that also what you call your dick? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. My dick has a brand new name, Bennett.
Samson Dark Horse.
Pull that motherfucker
Okay,
out on
but
you.
You just
Like-
improved Native American relations in the black community.
Bennett,
By
you just
one
stuck
title.
with the press release here. Malcolm plummets into a shadow culture.
Yeah, yeah.
Paranoid red
Yikes.
drug cartels,
Yeah.
pharmaceutical salesmen, talking skeletons, and murderous cops.
That's right.
Guns come out and the bodies start falling. Like every cowboy, Malcolm has himself a sidekick,
True.
a bounty hunter named Ryan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, my original
Ryan,
one, the
Nice.
original one that I wrote.
Ryan is the fuck boy. Watch.
Yeah, the original one that I wrote is basically like a little funnier than that, but it was just like
I
we had
did.
serious, and I was like, fine. I was like, just change it. But I like that though. I do for more official purposes, not just people I know who would find it funny. That was the problem. They're like, other people have to look at this. I was like, well, that's a good point.
All right.
So I look at this photo on the cover and I'm like, that's where you got the bodies buried, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. The original we had, there was a whole thing, and I still have to like get him in. The big thing was Raji Garrett was supposed to do some artwork for it, and now I have money that I can kick him. But Rob was like, "Yeah, I'm going to do the artwork," and
That was like 3 years ago, dude.
yeah, well, that was recently. That was in the past couple of weeks. I was like, do some artwork for it. It was the other project for the graphic novel
I got
put
you.
out like a couple of years ago where we were going to do it, but.
So you got
no.
digital versions of the book here.
Yeah, that's all that we got at the moment. There's no physical copies, so we're just selling digitals and trying to move it. But you can as long as you have a Kindle app, you can download it. You got to
So
do a
that's
couple.
hot. And you can also get it through Amazon, right?
Yeah, no, not yet. We're trying
Bennett,
to figure that out.
didn't I see you like 3
thought I
days
saw
ago?
it.
You didn't say shit about a book.
No, because I'm shady. I fucking said, didn't I?
And you also on this website, theproudabyss.com, you got some short stories here,
Yeah,
right?
there's some from me and some from some other people I know. People are sending me more stuff, and I've just got to put it up.
Yeah,
But,
I gotta
yeah.
stop being a lazy
So that's
fuck.
shorter stuff. Yeah. So some of that's
Writing wise and movie wise, with my extreme intellect and whatever the fuck else you guys said I was good at. I always wanted to do a comic book about the bartender at the bad guys bar.
That would be an awesome fucking.
Yo, you know what's crazy though? Hold on. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about this, but there actually is a game that's just like the idea for a book or a movie that you're talking about, Jamie, and I think it's called like Bartender, like Cyberpunk 2077 or some shit like that. But the thing is, it's like this indie game that's on the Switch, and you play as this one bitch who essentially is like trying to solve, like, so people will come to you and they come and like, spill their guts to you and shit and blah, blah, blah. But then she goes out of her way to like solve like whatever cases these people have. Like, it's really fucking cool. I wish I could remember the name of this fucking game, but I swear
There's a game called Cyberpunk 27.
Yeah, but that
77.
hasn't come out yet. What I'm talking about, this particular one is like it's a bartender.
Okay. That's
Honestly speaking, I would want nothing to do with like the good route. It would literally just be the bartender being the world. I mean, if you're the bartender at the bad guy bar,
yeah.
so what is it? It's Spider-Man. It's what? It's the bar.
No,
with
it's one of those. No, it's a roguelike. So it's like when you
Right. Like,
you
I
play the
saw the
game,
shit,
no matter
like-
when you interact, it goes however you want it to go.
Jamie finds out where the drop is and kills everybody.
It's called Valhalla.
Well,
It's called
actually,
Valhalla.
What?
I remember
I'm
Jamie.
Fuck out of y'all.
Jamie, you told me about a comic book and/or / movie script idea where it was like a young cop partners with an old cop, and they're like boys, and then like the old cop turns out to start being corrupt, and like the young cop has to like take him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
described
like-
that whole
that's
thing
a-
to me. I was like, when I get around to it, I was gonna make some concept drawings for you when I get a chance.
It's always with stuff like that. I think about. You remember that show, The Shield?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
with
yeah,
Chickless.
yeah.
In the first episode, he shoots the guy in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going for that. Like that's just like if the first episode's that way. Like I mean, this bartender's just a piece of shit. You know.
Right.
Here, look
Like,
this
you
up,
would
Jay.
have to say,
I just sent it
say
on my.
whoever.
Let's just
Walked
take a look
in.
at the old Michael Chickless here.
Look at this
Look at this
Let's go.
motherfucker.
big
Look at
bald
him, shut up,
fuck.
shut
Yo, do you guys remember the unit? You remember the unit?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
unit.
Oh, and this
that
guy was a
the
douchebag,
shit,
too.
yo.
He's
Like
an
this
asshole
actor,
everywhere
whatever his
he
actor
is.
name
Yeah.
is, he's always a douchebag in whatever he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the cowboy one? It's
Justified.
Justified.
And then he's in Vice Principals. Have any of you ever seen Vice Principals?
No, I didn't see
I
that.
hear it's funny.
That
It
show. It
Fucking
makes no damn sense how funny that show is.
show is, but also it's fucking hilarious. But you think it's one kind of show, and then you get to about the third or fourth episode in the first season, and it like at the end of the episode something happens, and you're like, holy shit, this is like real bleak. You're like, you start to realize that if this happened in real life, these people would be mentally ill. Anyone who behaves that way
Right.
would be
Oh, it's-
somewhat unbalanced, and you start to be like, oh yeah, that's right, that's what would happen because these people are fucking crazy.
That's that same actor, that same
Yeah,
douchebag
Walton
actor.
Goggins. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in
He's
what? He's
fucking
in
heroin.
what's that? He's the gay cowboy in Django. The one who catches Django's ball.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, and then he's also
Yeah,
in
he
the
was on,
hateful. He's in Hateful Eight.
He's
Yeah.
in Hateful Eight too, yeah.
He is in
Justified.
Hateful Eight.
There's a couple things. Seen his ass for years. He's just one of them actors, that guy from that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a good that guy from that thing.
Like
Yeah,
a
he's-
William H. Macy.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's like a Philip
I mean,
Seymour.
we all know
Hoffman.
William H. Macy now. But
Yeah.
before, I would say 10 years ago, he was just that guy from that thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
plus, he was in
More like that Russian guy who's in every fucking action movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
ever.
yeah,
You know who I'm talking about.
The one
but
in-
not one person knows his goddamn
name. No,
name.
but he's
Not one.
a Russian in fucking Snatch. That dude.
And the guy
ponytail
from
No, that's not the Russian in Snatch. That's a different guy.
No, I'm
Okay.
talking
He's
about
talking about
he's
the
in
guy
Bad
who's in,
Boys
what?
2.
Oh, that guy.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's
Let's find
that
his name out.
What's that Bruce Willis movie, Apocalypse or some old shit like that? Armageddon.
Armageddon. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in
He
Minority
has the
Report.
best line. He has the
Okay.
best line in that whole entire
Is it-
movie. He's like,
Is it
he's
Boris
like,
Uranov?
American, Russian, all made in Taiwan.
yeah. When he's hitting it with the wrench, like when they're in there, and he's like, "I have the wrench." Yeah.
Is it this guy?
No.
No.
When you
This-
see
Which
his
guy
face,
is he
you'll
in
know.
Snatch?
Boris
Boris the
He's not
Blade?
in Snatch.
Yeah,
No,
Boris
he's not
the
in the
Blade.
Snatch.
He's Boris the Blade.
Boris the fucking sneaky.
That's the
thief.
guy that I'm talking about. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're talking about the dude who's in Armageddon. Yeah.
This fucking guy right
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. Oh, looks like he might be Bosnian or Czech or something.
Yeah,
He didn't
yes,
look- that
because
didn't
he's
look
got a
Russian.
like a Serbian type
Well,
name.
Well, his name, whatever it was, the characters that it had over it, that didn't seem to sound Russian.
His name is Rade Serbid.
No, that's not him.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
not
do
him.
it. Don't do it.
No, it's Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare is the guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
The one in Armageddon. Okay, yeah.
But he's not in Snatch.
No. I thought of the wrong guy.
I'm gonna type it
Wasn't
in
he
the
also
chat.
in Taken?
Okay.
Yeah.
He was in Taken as well, wasn't he? He was a
Yeah.
bad guy in the first one,
When you needed an
No.
ambiguous. No, not in the first one. No,
or was it the second one?
I think he was in.
Yeah,
The
Joe, check your
Okay.
chat.
Oh, did I misspell your name,
I
John?
hope we're being racist and saying
Sorry
the
about
wrong
that,
guy
bro.
like
No
20
problem, no
times.
Yeah, no, but no offense intended.
Who's
Yeah.
No,
offended?
but before we get too
I've had
off
people
subject,
spell my
hold
name
on.
so fucked up over the years.
Hey,
Dude,
before
people
we
issue
get,
me checks with a Z at the end instead of a S, so
I'm fucking
you know,
done. I'm done. Yo.
you have no idea.
You want to hear something real funny?
This fucking
in
guy.
third grade,
Oh Lord, how racist is this about to be?
no, it's not gonna be that bad. It's not gonna be that bad. In third grade, Mrs. Smith called me Jamie Roderick.
I'm done, yo.
Your own teacher.
Oh
You know,
my
like,
goodness.
The second she did that, I was like, I'm getting into a fight today.
I'm sorry.
I clearly had to defend my honor because
Yeah, you had to let everybody know.
fucked it up. And now I gotta go bust a Coke bottle over somebody's head.
Oh yeah, that's good.
To reclaim
So this is the
dominance.
guy that's Russian in every fucking
Every-
movie.
Yeah, that's
Look
the
at
guy
his
right
IMDb.
there.
He's got like 8,000 movies, and he's never the main guy. He's in
Ever.
he's in
Well, no, he's in-
Constantine. He's the devil. What else? He's in every fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like I said, he's in Minority Report. He's the weird guy that cuts out his eyes. He's in Bad Boys 2.
Let's look at his filmography here.
I forgot he was in Minority
Oh shit, I
Report.
forgot he was in Fargo.
Is it? Yeah, he's the
Oh,
fucking
Fargo.
How do
big
you think he was
bastard
in
killing
Fargo?
people
He
in
literally
Fargo.
put somebody through a wood chipper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Awakenings. Wow, he's in fucking Awakenings.
yeah. Armageddon, Lost World. You
He's
know,
in Big. He's Carl
Oh
Hungus.
shit, I forgot he was in Minority
he is Carl
Report.
Hungus.
Yeah.
Remember, he's
Fucking
the guy.
Carl Hungus.
I come to fix your TV.
Yo, do you remember that movie Chocolat?
Yeah.
Fuck no, I'm
never
not watching no
saw it.
chocolate.
I never saw it.
You were clearly dating someone at the time, weren't you, Eric?
All right. Anyway, you remember the tuxedo? Okay, get the fuck on my face. Listen.
Wow, he's in Wind Talkers too. Damn.
What the fuck is Wind Talkers?
Yo, he's in
Oh
Batman
shit, he was
versus
in
Dracula.
Nacho Libre. I forgot about that too.
Yeah, he's the voice of Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played the voice of Dracula.
Dude, he's in fucking Nacho Libre. Like, this guy is in everything.
Oh yeah, they climbed the
Nacho!
fucking mountain to go see him.
Okay.
I'm hearing some feedback. Is that just me, or is that something else?
I don't remember Pain
Here
and
we
Gain
go.
or
Let me see.
22
Let me
Jump
mute
Street.
this. How about
He
now?
was in Pain and Gain.
Still
Yeah.
here.
Pain and Gain's great.
Pain and Gain was a good movie, but I don't
Um,
remember him being in that movie.
22 Jump Street.
He was in John Wick Chapter 2. I remember that.
Yeah.
Penguins of Madagascar.
He's in a
Wow.
movie called Kill 'Em All. I want
All
to
right,
see that.
anyways, next subject.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
so
no.
moving
I
on,
want
Eric. What else you got?
Okay, so before we got too off subject, what I wanted to do is I wanted you to look up this game Valhalla that I was talking about. This game Valhalla, it's for actually it's not for the Switch. It's an indie game, but you just play like you just roll the trailer. It's this type of thing like where it's one of those like dialogue based games, but the thing is that you also mix the drinks and you can get like other ingredients and people tell you different shit.
Cyberpunk bartender action.
Yeah, and like essentially what happens is there are different ends to the stories, and like there are like hundreds of different endings. It's not just like one thing or like two or three things. Like
Yeah.
there are hundreds of different endings to the story.
All right, let's go to YouTube here.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Now that I've actually said this out loud, the shitty bartender idea, I'm writing this book.
You better.
You
You got all the time in the world
It's a
now.
good idea, dude. It's an amazing idea. Also, you have fun
I mean, you
things
know,
to think of, like
I'm gonna call it how to.
who's the bouncer at that bar? Who can bounce super villains? right? So who the hell would that be? Would that be like the best superhero's son who was a
It'd be the Juggernaut.
like that would be the Juggernaut.
Oh, shit, they would be playing ads. Fuck.
There we
Do
go.
we want sound?
Okay.
Yeah,
I
let's
mean, we
man,
can
I
always,
mean,
you know, I'm making up
I'm
a
gonna have to
bartender
edit
announcer.
that part out, man.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Haji from Johnny Quest.
Haji from Johnny Quest.
Oh my goodness, Johnny Quest.
Remember the New
Jim-
Adventures
Jim
of Johnny
Calabin.
Quest?
Yes, I used to love that.
I
shit
used to
on
watch
Tsunami
that
at 4 o'clock,
shit.
baby.
All the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Also, if you wrote that, Jamie, and it became successful, like if you did a graphic novel and it became successful, you could easily pitch doing something with it with the people who do Venture Brothers, because that fits in
Yeah.
perfectly with the Evil League. Like, where do they drink? Like, and that would be
Right.
hilarious, dude.
Oh, it was an
Bartender did a dirty
Indiegogo
look.
campaign.
Yeah.
I like the. I definitely like the graphic style.
Yeah, they're about to show you a little bit of the gameplay here now too, and like, yeah,
Have you,
it's just it's dialogue based. You get all of the you know, the ingredients and stuff like that. You can make them too. You can like harvest them yourself, and yeah, that's. I mean, yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah, so
way
it's
better.
like text-based, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
What would I call
I'm
this
up in
guy?
the quality here.
No name. He's just the bartender.
The bartender. Yeah, that's perfect. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
what
That would
are
also lead to a lot of comedy, is you could always pretend like you were
Right.
going to get to his backstory, and it was something real
Right.
dark, and you just never get around to it, like ever,
Right.
ever. Like somebody
Ever.
always interrupts him, or somebody's like, "Tell us what bartender, tell us how you wound up here," and he's like,
See, look. You see how you can make
busts in the
drinks
door
here?
and is like,
Like you can
fucking
like,
says something or whatever,
and you
something
can set the
stupid, and then just never gets-
jukebox how you like. You're literally playing a bartender in this game. I have this game. Like it's just like you get to everything that you would do normally at work is everything that you can do in this game with a little bit of story, with a little bit of story progression sprinkled in.
I feel like it's
Can I play
primarily
on my
driven by
phone
story,
in
right?
the game when I'm not busy?
A beer's $200. What?
Fascinating.
That'd be funny. Every once in a while, you can mix in some random people who walk in for no reason.
No,
Hey, it's like,
seriously.
girl, you're in the wrong bar.
7 to 10 hours of story.
Or they walk in to ask you where's Red Rocks? Like,
Right. Like, oh, wrong basement, lady. Just rob them.
Anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that real quick.
It
No,
kind of
listen,
has
it's
a
just
Phoenix Wright.
It's just an
vibe
indie
to it.
game. Like I think this might even be available for the phone. I might be making that up, but
Well, it says it's on PS Vita, but I'd imagine it's been ported by this
Yeah.
this time. But,
I
it
have
has
it on the Switch.
It has a
so.
Phoenix Wright, attorney at law that vibe.
yeah, it has a kind of look like that to it. Yeah.
But-
Very,
Chapter
very
one,
cool.
how to,
The idea that we've
Chapter
never.
one. how to fuck friends and irritate people.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can I most get these people to cuss me out and just leave?
The whole point of that entire book series would be like, this guy is a piece of shit.
Oh, what book series is that?
The unwritten bartender series.
Oh, I see.
Bartender.
No.
All right, so there are a couple other things I wanted to get at, and it has most to do with like what you guys were talking about last time. We were talking about it through the week for a little while, but last week John and Joe had brought up some like old school movies, and one that came to mind this week was fucking I don't know if you remember this movie, Bennett or Jamie, but you remember fucking Kung Pao, Enter the Fist?
Yeah.
My name is Betsy.
Yo.
All right, so my senior year when that movie came out in high school, that was literally the only thing that I watched for like a solid 6 months.
Yeah,
Nice.
the fucking
Like
hilarious
that.
movie.
Stupid
So-
ass movie. That's that guy is the director. He's like the director of Ace Ventura movies.
Really? That's the same
Yeah,
director?
here.
I always
Same
wondered,
director.
like, what happened to that guy? I was like, because
Yeah, because wasn't there supposed to be? It was supposed to be a second one.
Yeah, I think that was just a joke.
yeah, because
Yeah. Wait. How about my fist to my nut style? We trained him wrong as a joke. I have that movie on DVD.
it's so good.
I had
It
it
was such a good
till
movie.
these Baltimore assholes stole my shit. Fuck.
Did you ever tell the public that beautiful story of that young lady you found in your basement?
Oh
That's one of my
what happened?
favorites.
I gotta
That
hear
is one
about
of my
this.
favorite
Hold
stories
on.
of all time, with one of the best.
Oh
punchlines
shit.
ever. As one of the all-time great punchlines. That story.
Oh my god.
Okay, John, you gotta lay it on us, bro. I gotta know this story.
All right. 2018. I'm not living in the house full time. I'm in and out, but I'm there at least like once a week. And I decided I wanted to take a trip, get out of the country. So I went to Iceland, I went to England. Saw Manchester United game, tried to see the Northern Lights. That didn't work out, but it was cool. It was a good trip. I was gone for like 10 days. So that means I hadn't been at the house for at least 2 weeks.
In Baltimore.
In Baltimore. When I'm about to come home, I start seeing email notifications from my alarm system that the kitchen is disabled, the basement is disabled, the hall is disabled. I'm like, fuck,
Just piling up one on another.
fuck. And it keeps coming. It keeps coming, but I am not getting calls because I'm overseas. So I try not to freak out. I'm texting people to see if they can call, but I only text family. I didn't want to freak anybody out, like down in DC. So, you know, I'm getting all these fucking crazy notifications. I get home, I get an Uber back home, and I look at the house, and it's like, it's quiet. The door's closed, but it's unlocked. So I walk in and I start making noise as I pick up a pipe. Because I don't have any.
What kind of
I don't have anything that's actually gonna protect me.
Yeah, what kind of pipe? As Jamie
What
pointed
kind
out.
of pipe?
A big
What
old
kind of pipe?
black lead pipe.
You get a crack pipe for that bitch. Everybody clearing out that house.
Oh my god, they don't do crack here.
I
They're
got crack.
heroin. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, more like
So-
they're coming in.
So there's
That
3
Baltimore
stories
love
to
thing.
this house and the basement. So I walk in and I start clearing the house like a cop. Like I walk in one room, next room, upstairs, one room, next room, next room, next room. I get all the way upstairs and I'm like, maybe they're all gone. But on the top floor, I start seeing stuff that people have definitely been living there. There's a mattress in the middle of one room where there wasn't a mattress. There's some clothes. When I had went through the kitchen, there was like a notebook with a list of all the stuff that they pick up every day. It's like shampoo, socks, deodorant, all that shit.
I thought you were gonna say a list of the shit that they stole from you.
Oh
They
yeah,
made a
if they
list.
kept the record, would snap that pic, send it right to the cops. But yeah, I get to the
look at
top
that shit.
floor.
That's the most organized heroin addict I've ever heard of in my entire life.
You know, they kept it pretty neat, except for they shit in a 5-gallon bucket. And that hurt me the most because right before the trip, I had just gotten the plumbing on. They could have used the fucking toilet. They could have just shit in the toilet, but old
So
habits
it was
die
a-
hard.
It was an unoccupied house.
Yeah, it still basically is. It's just me in here. Like, fuck. I'm here like full time now, but back then, it was still boarded up. There was still shit on, like plywood on the windows and everything. So, you know,
Right. So it's not like you had it furnished and was living there.
it's still not furnished. I got a bed in here and myself. That's it. Like,
Kwame
But-
masturbating all over the place and shit.
listen, Can't tell one
Empty
stain
room.
from another.
I mean,
But,
it's not yours until you do that, right?
This is
That's how
mine.
it works.
This is mine. This is mine.
Yeah. So I get all the way to the top floor and every room, and I'm like ready to like breathe a sigh of relief. And I get to the last room, and there's a woman in there, and she is about to shoot up. She's cooking, and she's so engrossed in cooking, she doesn't hear me walk up right behind her. And she's like doing a little dance. She's happy. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, hey, get out of my house. You don't have to get arrested today. Get out of my house.
Kwame, hey, a man of the people.
Oh my God. She turns around and she's like, oh my God. And
But I'm interested.
immediately,
Did you let her get high first?
wait a minute. No, she doesn't shoot up in front of me, but she immediately goes into sob story mode.
Something tells me I feel like you got videos of that, baby girl.
I do not have a video of that. And if I did, that was
She
like
doesn't shoot up in
three-
front of me. Nah, never that.
That was like three phones ago. But yeah, she starts telling me, she's like, listen, I was just trying to get out of the cold. I was just trying to, find a place to stay. I didn't think anybody lived here. And I was like, who else came in here? Because they took the door off. They didn't break the door. They cut the fucking door off. Like, they just cut it off. I don't know how they did it, but the joist where the door was to the kitchen was just gone.
Damn.
So she's still like sobbing and like picking up her stuff. And she's like, it wasn't always like this. I used to sell drugs. I didn't used to do drugs.
That is hilarious.
Yo.
And wasn't she wearing some of your clothes?
Where's my fucking jeans?
From you as she's telling you all.
As she's
this.
telling me the story, she's wearing my jeans. I think she was wearing one of my shirts.
I mean, you didn't want that shit back, though.
I don't want any of it back.
No,
I actually still have like a
Kill
whole
with fire.
Oh my God. Yeah. So long story short, I call the cops. She doesn't go anywhere. Like, she doesn't leave. And like, she just stays with me. I'm like, this is fucking weird.
That's awkward as shit. Like, just sitting there with a heroin addict and shit. So, hey, what
Yeah.
you doing with
Who's
I'm
that?
wearing your clothes? Who's wearing your clothes, by the way?
Wear my clothes, and like, I was social distancing before
At that
people
point, at that
thought
point,
about
she was
it.
wearing her clothes.
So
Yeah.
At that point,
Those
yeah,
were her clothes.
yeah.
when you say
Those were
she
her
didn't
clothes.
leave
Wear her clothes.
She didn't leave. The cops show up.
the same day,
Yeah, 45
Okay.
minutes later, but the cops show up. And they show up. They do their sweep of the house, and she's still standing there, and the cop is talking to her, and he's checking his phone. And I didn't know this until that day, but they have like an online database that has everybody's mugshot. So she gives one name, but the cop's like, nah. What's your real name? What's your name? What's your name? And he just keeps asking her, and like, that's enough to break her down. And she finally comes clean. And at that point, they're like, all right, we're gonna arrest you. And I was like, what was all that about? They're like, we got her on like
outstanding warrants.
outstanding warrants, false reporting, trespass, all kinds of shit. And I was like, no shit. So the addendum to that story, so I actually get
And
called
that's when
into,
you fucked her.
I get called into court
Oh,
to
shit.
testify against her. And by that point, it's been around 10 months, 11 months. It's almost been a year. She shows up in court, and apparently she enrolled in a program. She looked like she was doing a lot better.
There you go.
She was only 28. She looked like she was 50.
Damn.
Damn.
Like, she looked fucked up before, and she looked a lot better the second time around. Yeah, and they're like, as long as you keep up with the program, blah, 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 we see that you're visiting your kids and all this other stuff.
Listen, she had kids.
She had kids. She had all kinds of, she really did have a sob story. I'm not
For
going to lie.
anybody who has kids, let me tell you right now, that motherfucker has driven me to do drugs.
Oh, hard drugs.
More than one occasion.
Hard drugs. Baskerville just got up, but I know he's on the verge. Better watch his ass. But
I looked at my son before and been like, you know what? I should have just did some crack.
Yeah.
Prick, I'm telling you.
yeah. So yeah, that was the end of the story. She looked like she was doing a lot better. Hopefully she's still on track. That was about a year ago now. Yeah, it was fucking wild because I was like, what do I do if the cops don't come? Do
Keep talking to her.
do I
Call them
kick her
back,
out?
Kwame, is what you
Yeah.
do. You call them back.
Yeah, do I kick her out myself with my fucking
Well,
I mean, I would say call your boys over and
Yeah,
be
you-
like, we got to get this person out of here.
because
my
you full of
boys are
shit.
in DC. The guys in the corner are probably the ones that cut the fucking door off.
off. Yeah.
Because that was the first time it got broken into. It was just the drug dealers using it as a place to bag up,
Yeah.
eat Takis, and smoke.
Oh.
I came up there with my dad once, and all there were Dutch Guts, Takis, and Capri Suns on the ground. He's like, "What the fuck?" I was like,
They
"That's
got-
what they live on." Shit.
What they
Drug
did
dealers
drugs
have a
and went and
glorious
played a
diet,
soccer
but-
game.
They do, right?
Yeah.
The Capri Suns. I'm like, they went,
No.
they got high and played soccer.
It's what you
Showed up and
want
sit with some
to
orange
eat when
slices.
you're high, even if you don't know it, right? Like even if you're like, I want to eat something, I'm really high. What you really want is taquitos and Capri Suns. Like, and they've been in the game so long they don't kid themselves anymore. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm high. I'm high, so I want taquitos and Capri Suns because that's what you
Yeah.
really want deep down. It's what everyone wants when they're high.
Yeah.
Taquitos.
They just salt.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
I wish I had them right now.
I think
Better pull out a Costco size bag of tacos.
Right.
Fucking
Welcome, Eugene. Thanks
Hey,
for
what's
joining
up,
us.
Eugene?
this
Hey,
evening.
what's up, Eugene?
Yo, what's up?
Eugene is a graphic designer, and you down in Richmond, right?
Yep.
Yeah, word up. All right, Eric, you got the next topic, dog.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I have a few topics we can always transition to. Like,
oh no.
I feel like, I mean, I think the biggest concerns that I have right now, like based around the things that we have been talking about, that we all collectively have some hand in,
Shit.
is talking about what's going on right now with opening the country,
Shanghai
like
Shivers.
Georgia. And I know I heard some things from PA, and I'd like to hear from Jamie about that.
Already,
What
bro.
his thoughts are on that, but I feel like what I should do right now is just give just put it on the floor. I mean, is there anything else anybody else wants to talk about before we start getting into the dumb shit?
Oh, we can jump right into this bullshit. Let me
Yeah.
tell you right now, because so all right. So on Monday they had all those rallies. Like there was one in like Lexington, Kentucky. Ben, I talked to you about this.
Yeah, we
another one
had a
in
conversation
Harrisburg.
about this.
And they were like, yeah, you know, we're gonna get everybody back to work. And mind you, it's like kids out there, people coughing all over the place. They shoulder to shoulder and shit. Social distancing is like slavery. I'm like, hold on, wait, white woman, take it
What?
easy. Let's pull this back. Let's pull this back.
Yeah.
I want to get back to work. No free handouts. And I'm like, but you're still spitting each other's faces. And everyone's just up in arms. And the guy finishes his speech with, let's make Pennsylvania great again. And I was like, oh shit, you guys are gonna die.
Pennsylvania? Wow, okay.
We tried to say
Shout out
that
the
the
racist
nurses
states
were
one by
fake
one.
nurses.
Oh man, dude, just. You ever like see something like not like necessarily like a car wreck, but you see somebody fucking up their life, and you have that moment where you can stop them,
Yeah.
but then you'd be like, nah.
A mile away.
It's like have you seen that meme? It's like Charles Darwin. It's just it's like that old picture. This one.
Yeah.
The meme. It's his face, and under it, it just says, "Go ahead." Darwin."
Yeah.
Yes, that has been making the rounds.
Good. Just go ahead. You dumb fuck. Like this is like God's way of making idiocracy not happen.
I certainly hope so, but I mean, it's definitely getting closer and closer every day. But I'm gonna grab another beer real quick, but let's make that topic make the rounds, and then I want to show you guys a video of what happened in Malcolm X Park a couple days ago. Okay.
All right, so just
I've been
avoiding that.
oh no,
Avoiding that video. Like the
what
plague.
happened?
What did I miss?
Just some dumb bitch being a dumb bitch. I'm not gonna
I'm
lie.
just saying we have to view the caucasity, but proceed with the discussion. I'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The caucasity.
Shit.
I
Did you see the one with the white lady who got arrested in front of her kids?
I didn't
The
want.
one
I'm
Reggie
avoiding
posted?
all that
Yeah.
stupid shit because, like,
Yeah, in
honestly,
Idaho.
That shit is
Dude, it's so
Like,
dumb.
I was
She
like, damn, you
asks
got
to
the-
be arrested,
right.
and then she
right.
gets mad when they arrest her. We'll watch that video too, but discuss. I'll be right just back in just a
I
couple
thought we
minutes.
were not gonna do a non-COVID stream this time, but
Yeah.
we can't
Yeah,
get
I
away
thought
from
we were
it.
gonna try to avoid it. But I mean, hey, current events, man. Honestly, what else is fucking current right now? Like they won't tell us about anything else right now.
Well, that's my point. Like they're smothering us with it, but they're not actually giving us any information. Just
Yeah.
because like numbers keep going up doesn't mean shit. Like
Yeah,
I mean, we're
All right, let's talk about what we
Day
do
is
now.
the media.
Let's talk about
The
what we
media
do now.
specifically would be that day. Yeah.
No, I want to.
In this like in this situation, definitely the media.
yeah,
I
Right.
want to talk about something that nobody's talking about that is part of all this, which is there's certain professions that are being hit very hard by this. And we all know some of them, but one of them, and I've talked to Eric about this, that I think no one is considering coming out the other side of this. You got a bunch of people, many of them are stuck indoors, right? Can't get into contact with anyone else. And we live in cities where this is a thing, right? How do you think that, like, people who write horoscopes and psychics are coming out the other end of this? Not just from the point of being like, you know, you didn't predict this was going to happen, right? Obviously. But the horoscope thing, if you read your horoscope every day, it's like, you'll meet new and interesting friends today if you were
yeah.
born on October the 21st. No, I fucking won't. Like, they're like, you're going to get a promotion this week. No, I'm not.
Oh shit!
All the horoscopes are telling you
that's
constantly that you are fucking like, you're going to meet a new friend today. You're going to have an argument with a coworker. It's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm
Scale
not.
back. You're
Like
working
fucking-
too hard. You should
Yes.
take it easy.
Yeah,
You should-
like that's something that no one's fucking talking about, but that's like real. Like it's what's going on there. Like, because we know, right? There are people who, even if it's just, there's some people who like that's their thing. But if that is your thing, right? And then every day you're like, they're not even switching this up, huh? You're like,
I look at the
can't.
people who follow horoscope the same way I look at like overly religious people.
mhm.
It doesn't fucking matter. Whatever changes occur, they're still gonna check their goddamn horoscope. All my sisters are into horoscopes, and I think it's
Yeah.
something that happens to women in like their late 20s once they realize that nothing that they gave a shit about actually pans out. They start reading their horoscopes and get really into it on Instagram.
Yeah, I feel the same way about that. Definitely. Like I feel like it's
Hold on,
definitely
time out. Hold on, listen. Hold on. You saw how John had to take his glasses off for that?
wait a fucking second.
He's like, fuck that.
Like, all right.
Yo,
All right,
I
we
grew
talking
up
about
with
this fucking horoscope
this.
shit. We're gonna talk about this fucking horoscope shit. All right. Let me take the fucking glasses off real quick.
Yeah.
Ash Ketchum turn his hat to the side. Yeah, but nah, man, I definitely feel like it's a bag of bullshit. But it's weird though, cause there's definitely a reason that keeps pulling people to that shit. Like whether it's like people wanting to come up with a reason for shit they don't understand, or
Yeah.
try to like blame shit. You know what I'm saying? Being able to put shit on other shit so it's out of their controls. But whatever the matter is, it's still one of like the oldest things that has
Oh
like
yeah.
like, you know what I mean, on the planet, like as far as like belief systems, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Like it's kind of freaky how old horoscopes, like how far back horoscopes go back as far as like Egypt and shit.
Mesopotamia.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
Mesopotamia and Egypt.
Mesopotamia
Yeah.
and stuff. And then we're
Yeah.
talking about like, you know what I'm saying, like civilization, like just
yeah.
after like post flood and shit. So we're talking about post flood civilization. So we don't even know like literally like zodiacs could actually come from like the civilizations that predate the flood, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I mean, there's interesting, like the whole topic itself. Like Richard Tarnas is a very interesting guy, and he has a whole a big thick book on it. He wrote a book on Western civilization. It's famous and it's taught as, or not really, I guess kind of like Mediterranean civilization all around the Mediterranean. But it's about like this thick, and it became a textbook in schools, and it's amazing. It's a good book. But then after that, he wrote a book on sort of like how did astrology come about. And that's like a really informative book that it's like a historical survey of it. And that's called Cosmos and Psyche, I think is the name of it. But he admits, he was like, this whole subject interested me, but he's like, for me to research all this stuff, it has such an underground impact on like how the sciences developed, right? Because it ties into astronomy and calculations and whatnot.
Yeah, all in the same time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. He's like, so
Absolutely.
it's like it influenced all these things after, and it's like a really interesting book. So you know, when people
That's
are
actually a
interested
point.
in it or whatever, yeah, I don't mind. Like, it's not like it bothers me. But on the horoscope thing, especially, like, there are going to be people, like, when you get told specifically, and that's one of the points that he makes in the whole thing, is like horoscope. Just like when you would go to an oracle in like Egypt, right, or Greece, you would ask them a question and all the old myths, and they don't answer you directly. They like say it in a riddle, because life is, you know, moves around. So they would like give you a riddle, which you could interpret it a number of ways. But when somebody is like, you are going to meet someone today, like out, like when it gets that specific,
It's specific.
it's way too specific. You're like, this is some horse shit. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna meet a man with a fucking glass leg who like, like it's, and some of that stuff is like super specific. And but there are, to John's point, there are people who it means a whole lot to.
It means everything to them. It's crazy.
Everything to. So this is what I'm getting at. This abuse of this type of like, you know, system or thought path or idea that's been around for so long, but it's been so crassly like fucking turned into this thing where you're like,
They take it too literally.
yeah, but they also make money off of it for the reasons that Kwame is saying. So what my whole point is, as funny as that is what I said, I'm being serious. There's a lot of people who are trapped in their house drinking way too much, like all the time, getting like super sad when all this is going on. And they lean on that shit real hard. And then every day they're like seeing their horoscope. Like, this doesn't fucking apply to me. None of it.
Sounds like they might have to confront reality for the first
Do
time.
you remember back in 2009 when they discovered a new sign?
Oh, that fucking Ofuican shit, that fucking octopus sign. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you remember that shit? I was like, whole motherfuckers was up in arms. Like,
Yo, people was attacked. People felt attacked. They was like, yo, you're not about to change my fucking horoscope.
Yo, I woke up one day and I was a Libra, and I was like, excuse me, man.
Like, randomly.
Exactly.
Right.
Chris Rock told me I was gonna die fucking.
No champagne in the sex room. No sex in the champagne room.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Oh,
No,
shit.
but I want to return to what Bennett was saying, which is that I think in our modern Western style society, we have this idea that like science and religion are like really divided, right? But what you were saying about astronomy is
no.
Hold on. Hold on.
What I'm saying.
Let me finish what the fuck I was about to say. What I'm saying is that back then, when you had the early Mesopotamians, the Sumerians,
Egyptians,
making the foundation of astronomy and learning the patterns of the stars, the reason they were doing that is because that was their gods. They were studying the gods. So in a very bizarre way, it wasn't bizarre to them, but it's bizarre from our standpoint. Making science was a religious practice.
Yeah.
So like the foundations of science in ancient societies were religiously motivated. And so that they did not have that division between science and rationality and religion that we have in our society, as we see them as very much as polar opposites.
Hold on. Okay,
I don't think that division exists personally.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna second what you said on top of just like give you a different perspective on it. This is just what I think, like, especially with everything that's going on right now, division couldn't be more closer to each other than it has been divisive. So the thing is that the lines have been so for me, the lines have been so blurred now that you can believe one thing and like be wholeheartedly into that. Like let's give an example, like fucking like you know, it's a strict type of religion like Catholicism or being Muslim or being Mormon or whatever it may be. But then you can have a scientific aspect to what you believe based off what your political standpoint is. So I think that things are so close to each other, not in a good way, but the fact that they the lines have been so blurred that like religion and science are becoming one and the same. And depending on what you believe as an individual, if somebody believes like a fraction or a percentage or a point of what it is that you share that are the same, becomes dangerous.
Yeah,
So,
no,
like-
a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, but also I think what you're railing against is just fundamentalism in any aspect. Because as Bennett was saying earlier, like back then when the oracles told you shit, that shit was not meant to. We have lost the ability
That was
that the
everything.
ancients had to understand shit in a metaphorical sense, right? So
The
here's
real
the bet-
danger, if you really think about it, the real danger, if you really think about this whole entire thing, it's not necessarily ignorance; it's the unwillingness to learn.
Yeah.
but that is ignorance, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ignorance is just not
Yeah.
knowing.
To not know.
Being unwilling to be not ignorant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
yes.
to speak to something, you guys want to wrap this up back with COVID. Everyone keeps saying trust the experts, but nobody's read any of the fucking
Right, they're not actually
studies
going
or
through the
anything that are
fucking
go. So they say
prospectuses.
trust the experts. The experts could say go back to work tomorrow, and you would just have to do that. Like it's one of these things where that is really the difference between like there are people who study God and then there are people who call themselves religious. There are people who check their horoscope and then there are people who like do their cards every day. There are people who are scientists and have religion, but every time that they go to work, they don't bring the fact that, you know, they believe in Noah's Ark as a allegory or a metaphorical story into whatever they're studying. So
Yes.
yeah, there's a difference between the levels of like involvement you can have, and yeah, that's basically it.
Well,
It's
I
like
guess what I was
this ignorance around belief, which like there, I guess there, you know, faith is always about believing something you can't quite prove, and then ignorance is not being able to prove anything and then just wandering blindfolded in the world. Like,
Well, I think that there's ignorance based upon around the fact that we can't come to a general consensus. There
No.
should be a general consensus.
no.
No, there doesn't need to be a general consensus. But look, I
With
just
any
want
of
to
you on anything, you still hang out with me. I don't know.
But I just want to provide an example, right? Because I think part of the reason is the loss of metaphor, being able to understand shit on a metaphorical or
Yeah, I
allegorical level,
Yeah.
right? Like, for instance, in the Bible, in the there's the saying that Jesus has where he says, "Oh, it's easier for a rich man to pass through the eye of a needle than to get into heaven," right?
Yeah.
People misunderstand that. They're like, "Oh, well, that just means, you know, a rich guy like can't get into heaven." No, because they don't understand what the fuck an eye of a needle is. The eye of a needle was the gate to the city, right? Like, it was the little archway that you would come in through with your camel, right? So if your camel was stacked with goods, you wouldn't be able to fit through the entrance. You had to take the stuff off of the camel in order to pass under. It was basically like when you see going under a causeway, right? Like under a highway, it says trucks that are, you know, 20 feet less, over 20 feet high can't go in. That's basically what it was. So it's like you had to take the shit off of the camel in order to be able to enter. But because these fundamentalist idiots take this shit so literally, they don't understand the cultural context in which some of these stories were told that were totally understood by people at the time.
Right.
So it's like the people nowadays take that shit more serious than the people did who were around.
That were actually when those words was the shit.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say. We've lost that language.
Of every religion, though, the basis of every religion is literally explanation. Why do you have your period? You fucked up and you ate an apple.
That's
you know what I mean? Or quince or whatever the fuck
part.
motherfuckers think the goddamn tree of fucking eating was. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, why is life so hard? Well, these two assholes 2,000 years ago, apparently, or 5. How old are they saying this now? 5,000?
5,000,
Whatever.
6,000.
Anyway, these two assholes ate off a tree and God told them not to, and that's why everything fucking sucks.
It was the one tree.
Or like, shit, you take Greek mythology or whatever. It's like, oh, why is everybody so down? Because that bitch Pandora opened up a fucking box and left hope in there. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
Little dumb shit like that. But that's because, you know, people were stupider and most people didn't know how to read at the fucking time. and you can just explain.
Oh
goddamn
yeah,
stories
bro, oh my
about it.
God, yeah, right there.
I don't think it's because they were
the literacy
stupider.
rate is a huge thing. The fact
No,
that the literacy rate was low is a huge deal, bro.
I don't think
You
it's
can't say
because
that.
people are
Think about it.
stupider.
How many
I think we
times,
need stories. I think we need
Norse
stories to
mythology?
understand things, and those are the stories that got us through. Like
Right.
science is
Think about-
another
think
story.
about-
Science is a story with people in labs, but it's
Right, but we're
something that
talking
helps.
about before real science, though. I mean, think about how many people were like, the sun went down. Please, God, I hope that thing comes back tomorrow.
And I-
You know
Like,
what?
Norse
I actually
mythology,
found out.
there's a fucking set of wolves chasing the sun.
yeah,
You know
they
what I
eat
mean?
that
So
shit
it
every
comes
night.
back,
Every
you
night.
know?
I found out that the belief system behind that was kind of like backwards though, because like what we got from that was like people, like the beliefs about like the sun being pulled on a fucking chariot and shit,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, a whole dude holding the whole planet up and shit. It said the fucking atlas and stuff like that. Like those were like people trying to come up with basic explanation, but then at the same time, like I was trying to say earlier, we're also talking about like, well, I don't think I ever explained that. Like I wholeheartedly believe in like civilizations before the flood. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like there's proof of like cataclysmic floods that have happened on the planet. Like you can just look around the planet. You know how water works. You can see the effects of it all over the fucking planet. Like when you just look at certain little areas. Like not even on no conspiracy shit.
Yeah,
You
like
just look at the
Graham
geographic
Hancock type
mapping.
shit. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally hate getting into Facebook arguments because I feel like you're not in a real argument until you can look in the white of somebody's eyes
Yeah.
and tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about Noah's Ark and all, got into a Facebook argument about Santa Claus. I used to play Santa Claus at Children's Hospital in Philadelphia.
Oh no.
Fucking
no.
love Santa Claus. So the argument's like, I'm not gonna lie to my kids. Jesus is the reason for the season. I was like, y'all assholes are selfish.
Whoa.
But that's my point.
This dissertation of why she's not doing Santa Claus. And I was like, you still sound selfish. Give a kid a chance to have a little piece of imagination or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she goes, well, I'm a Christian. My response was, I was like, okay, cool. So you're telling me that
That's where it was right there. Oh shit.
you're telling me two fucking penguins went all the way from the South Pole and went to the middle of fucking the cradle of like fucking civilization. Stand all over the fucking place to get into my goddamn art. But you're telling me this fat white dude can't fly around the world in fucking a night.
That's it. Yeah.
But that's
Yes,
my
man.
point.
This is
I
just-
think these stories hold a different place in our heads as far
Ow.
as just like keeping us sane. Like we need narratives. We need stories. I think there's a literary aspect of it.
Yeah, stories are
Like-
important.
Telling kids about Santa Claus doesn't do anything for them except for help enjoy the holiday. I mean,
Also,
'Cause it's like you're
25
saying-
days of my kids shutting the fuck up.
yeah.
Like,
No, there's
Like,
something, there's a part of Santa Claus that's like there's a value to gift giving.
There
Yeah,
is,
right.
but like it doesn't necessarily have to come from Santa Claus. Like there's gift giving in all kinds of societies, and that's not it. But like I did something similar. I told everybody in my class there's no Santa Claus, and then I got brought to the principal's office, and my mom was there, and her trying to explain to me that it's not good to tell people there is no Santa Claus. She was like, "Well, he's like Jesus," and then I fixed my mouth to say.
Whoa.
I
Oh,
fixed
no.
my mouth to say, well,
Holy
then
shit.
we should. And before I could say anything, I caught the smack to end all smacks because she knew what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And she knew what I was thinking.
Nah,
And
that's-
she
Learning,
knew,
bro.
yeah, she knew I was fucking gonna die. I
that's
caught
what-
it when we got home.
About to
Oh my
lose your
god!
shit.
Oh my god! Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
I think that there's a narrative aspect to all belief systems, and if there's not a story that helps you rationalize things, human beings don't do very well. I mean,
I agree.
look at us now. We're more atheistic and agnostic than ever, and we're not doing that great as like a society or as individuals. One of the big things coming out of this, you're going to see depression rates skyrocket,
Already happening.
Yeah.
and
Look,
that's
when
the
there's
thing.
depression, you just eat ass.
Tried and true.
You talk about that keto diet. And
Oh my god.
Let's talk about that chocolate starfish.
Nah, let's talk about. Oh my god. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, I regress. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so I did want to
so
show you
nobody's
guys.
gonna make a lip biscuit joke. We're just gonna let that go.
Nolan's not here.
I did want to return to that topic of the crazy protest.
Oh yeah. What's up with the?
So
You gotta
first-
look up All Gas No Brakes. He
So
has
let's
the best footage
let's
of any
watch
protest.
the Idaho one, and then I'll show you what happened in Malcolm X Park. Okay, let me unmute the audio here.
I'm disgusted.
Okay.
It's not a private park, it's a public park. It is public and we can close it. We're closing.
That cow looks like a baby in uniform.
It's a public park. I mean, we're
Just
not
a big
breaking the
old
law.
baby.
The city closed it, and the city can close the park.
Under what grounds? Under what grounds can they just come in and?
Look like that big ass baby that was jumping on that dude's back.
Well, they mad at us. We're just
Yeah.
taxes and frustrated with the
I
I think actually I'm frustrated with it as well. But you gotta leave it.
Or what?
Well, the playground.
All right, the arrest part's
No,
coming
we're
up
just
here.
wrong.
We're just trying to protect people. Don't like really
Just mom things.
That font doesn't seem appropriate for what's happening.
Are you gonna know?
Right?
No, it doesn't. You're right.
Oh wait, I think I've seen this.
No.
Oh yeah. Her right there.
Really ass.
She
See,
says,
that
"Arrest
part-
me,
that
do
part
it."
right
She
there.
puts her hands behind her back. He's an A.
Officer, you don't want to do that. Officer,
No,
you
listen, she thought she wasn't about to get arrested.
I know, that's hilarious.
Arrest me, I dare you. I was like, what? I get paid for this shit.
The
Like,
problem is
told
they're
him that he
bringing
didn't
up
wanna do that.
pretty good points. Like, what's the legal ground to arrest anybody for doing any of this?
Well, yeah,
you
but
know, we have a proverb in West Philly, and it's called "niggas get shot for less."
Yeah, no shit.
Like,
I'm not disputing that, but like,
That's good shit.
yeah,
I will-
I'm not
I
disputing
will
that.
never understand. I will never understand. So I talked shit to a cop one time in Philly, and he looked me in the eye and was like, "Yo, you know better." And I was, you know what, you're right. You're right.
that's a scary moment
You're
when
right, bro.
it's,
You're right.
you
It's
got
all
to like
good.
look from a fucking cop where he's just like
Right.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't
Like,
hear that look. Like yeah, and you're like,
But yeah,
Like I would do you a fucking favor and remind you that you know better.
I understand that these women are
Look, if I'm being
stupid,
honest,
and
I've
they're
seen
the
my wife
worst.
do that.
Oh, this
No.
man always go crazy when we talk about girls.
This is the worst representation
These
of
women.
of a good argument possible, because
Yeah.
there is legal grounds to say that none of this should be happening the way it should. Just the fact that everyone's doing it around the world doesn't mean it's legal. But then you just have these fat, dumb,
yeah.
obnoxious people driving around, making noise, jumping in each other's faces, all kinds of shit. And like, if I had somebody representing me, this is the court-appointed lawyer of like legal protests out there. Like, these aren't the people that I want on the front lines of like constitutional rights.
No.
Well,
fuck
but
no.
it's also
But this is
AstroTurf.
America. So like,
It's
this
totally
is who-
AstroTurf.
Oh yeah, I've stopped. Like, I've doubted the legitimacy of a lot of protests, and like a lot of protests are planted. Like BLM had people being paid throughout the whole thing. You know, like the whole women's march thing. You think that many women showed up without getting paid? That's not how this world works. So it's like there's so many all protests. It's just a platform to grandstand your ideas. And
Kwame,
they
I'm
thought,
gonna interrupt you real fast.
Yeah.
John Kwame's views are his and his alone.
Yeah, no
He does not
shit.
represent the group
I
we're
told
talking
you, we're getting the reference. I said that right at the beginning. I don't give a
fucking A.
fuck.
Yo, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I had to bartend after that first women's march, the one after
I was with you.
Trump's inauguration.
Oh, shit.
And like when I say like 47,000 women ran in the Looking Glass with pussy hats on,
Yep.
and it was just like, oh, okay, I'm getting cussed out today.
yeah,
I'm
inevitably.
getting cussed out today. And anything
she's
was
an
wrong was like, I just
anti-vaxxer,
came
too.
from
Yeah.
the women's march, and you're
Joe,
talking
check
to me
that
like
link
this
I just sent
because
you.
I'm a woman. And I was like, no, I'm talking to you like this because you said something stupid, bitch. There is no iced tea in a goddamn Long Island iced tea.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. Like, we worked that. I didn't work at Looking Glass, but I worked at Wonderland, and I just shut my mouth the whole night because I was like, I want to make it out alive. I want to enjoy the money I'm making, and I'm not trying to
Enjoy
beat
the
up.
money you're making.
I don't want to get beat up by a bunch of screeching harpies,
No.
you know, who just
Yeah.
froze their ass off on the lawn on the mall.
40%
for
of them
no
voted
reason.
for Trump, so you can kiss my ass.
I'm
Yeah.
also going to be interested to see the flip side of this situation, though, right? Because I agree. Like, I'm worried, like John is, that if this isn't being pushed too far at the moment, if these are the correct measures, it's sort of like who exploits these circumstances.
They're already
after it's
exploiting
all
it.
over.
Look at the
Exactly.
CARE
However,
Act.
yeah, the CARE Act. But
Well-
the other thing I'm thinking about, though, is there's going to be an inverse of this, which is when they finally are like, okay, everybody go back to work. There's going to be a lot of people, specifically people who work in offices, and they've been told the whole time that they work in offices that, like, oh, it's impractical for you to work remotely, right? They're going to be, you can't work remotely. It wouldn't work logistically. The team wouldn't cohere, all that bullshit jargon. They're gonna fucking try and throw that on somebody who's been working home and doing all their work and fucking acing it for 3 months with none of the stress, none of the stupid fucking conversation. There's gonna be a lot of people who, when this goes back, they're gonna be told, like, well, you have to come back into the office, and they're gonna be like, no, and they'll be like,
fuck that office.
yeah, and they'll be like, fuck that office, and they're also gonna be like, their employer's gonna be like, if you don't come back in, we're gonna fire you, and then they're gonna go, if you fire me.
No, there's going to be
Fire.
layoffs.
Yeah,
It's not even a conversation that's going to happen. There's
It's
going to be a
not.
whole restructuring of so many different segments.
True, there are, but then there are going to be people who are deemed necessary, and even with the restructurings, they're going to
Yeah.
go, I'm not going to go back in. And when they
Yeah.
say that, and then their bosses are like, we'll fire you if you don't come back in, right? They'll be like, you can't fire me for coming back in because I don't believe that it's a safe environment. Like, I fear for my own
With the
health.
quickness.
Yeah, I fear for my own health, right?
Yeah.
I fear for the health of my coworkers, and it's possible for me to do this job from home, so why should I have to come in anymore?
There's also going to be 6 people to every one position at the end of this.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, if you really think about it, right? Well, we're at 500,000 deaths or 50,000 deaths.
It's over 50,000 now.
It's over
worldwide
we're-
or
we're-
no, not in America. It's
We're,
not 50.
we're in a really big range. Okay, so you
Yeah.
take
No, there are
500,000
50,000 in American alone.
I
There
don't
are
think so.
50,000
Not
in
yet.
America alone. So here we go.
There are
You start
50,000
doing
in
math
America
numbers,
alone.
right?
Sources or
And-
didn't happen.
Yeah,
that
sources
happening,
or it
with-
didn't happen.
Right.
Look, you know that
But
number's underreported because, like,
well,
Joe,
Joe,
go on CNN right
I
now.
mean, look, you don't
Joe,
want to
go on
incite panic.
CNN
but
right
it's
now.
underreported because
No,
only
you don't.
people
You
that are
don't want
getting-
inside panic.
Joe, go on CNN right
Only
now.
people that are getting counted are the ones that are showing up in the emergency room. So it's actually more than 50,000.
Yeah, so go on
Right.
CNN right now.
There's so many counting errors. They're counting more people. They're counting less people.
cool.
I don't even care about the numbers anymore.
I mean,
Like-
look, anything more.
If you really
than
start
30,000.
paying attention to the numbers, though, this is actually growing at a skyrocketing rate, which means that this is a possibility for this to be an extinction level event.
No.
I am not lucky enough
No.
to die with everybody else.
No.
That is
No.
that is my main issue right now. That everyone else dies and I'm stuck on Earth with like Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
know about the
Well, yeah,
You're gonna be stuck
exactly.
on Earth with man, just sitting there.
Right. And I'll take man. I'll just kill his fat ass and eat him. But still,
God.
Right.
Ugh.
Okay,
Ugh.
should we look at another
I
one
can
of these
finally-
videos?
Yeah.
Yo,
Here's a
play that
protest.
shit.
Here's a protest that's a little more fun.
That shit is insane.
Okay.
Everybody cough in my face. Do it.
Whoa.
Some cough in my face. Yes, cough directly in my
Die.
face.
Crack or die.
Freedom. I'm weak.
Oh my God.
You know, see, like, it's weird, man. Like,
Wow.
oh God, the swastika. Like, it's so weird, man, because, like,
American, rise up. Nobody's really dying of this thing. I never did put on hand sanitizer ever, and I don't ever wash my hands.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna be stuck with.
9/11.
That's what I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
be
be stuck with that guy.
Right? The
He's gonna make it
poison.
He is.
because he
Oh, he's
eats
gonna
raw
fucking
eggs
make it.
and meat.
That guy's the cure to fucking AIDS.
I was like, bro, he said, I was like, raw eggs and meat. I was like, bro, I was like, you don't even know, like, if you have a tapeworm or not. You
Bruh.
wouldn't know immediately.
I will also know, all these protests with the cars, it's like they're always driving like a over $50,000 car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Because they're
saying?
not working
Like,
class
look at
Americans.
look at who's bitching about their rice right now, but like,
Yeah.
but not.
Yo, I'm gonna
No,
tell you
like,
right
real
now,
shit, though,
all these assholes talking about freedom of speech, I swear, do not say shit about fucking Colin Kaepernick, you bitch. Like
Yeah.
oh, so that man
No,
protested,
don't
he
say
was
shit.
asshole, then he go fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well, on that note, Jamie, we have to we have to look at this one in Malcolm X Park, because this bitch had the audacity.
Oh shit.
She had the audacity to tell a grown black ass man cop, ask him if he knew who Martin Luther King was.
Oh shit.
Wow.
The description.
What?
You
I
know
haven't
what?
seen
If
this.
there's
I have
one
not
thing-
seen this at all.
If there's one thing that stupid people have, it's the audacity.
Oh, it got taken
Oh,
down.
nice.
Oh.
This video.
Oh, it's got the
God.
Got
audacity.
controlled. She must have got
Oh
it.
shit!
But I will
Blowing it
note
out
that
of the
if you,
sky.
if you come here,
Muriel Bowser calling in some hitters.
so basically this
The
bitch
face
took her kid to a picnic in
Of
Malcolm
course,
X
you know how much Muriel Bowser don't like black people?
Take her kid to a picnic.
Well,
in
I don't know
Malcolm
if you
X
guys
Park.
heard this morning, but
She's Facebook living the whole thing, and she's like, oh, you know, MLK, civil rights, all this shit. The cops nicely asked her to leave, and she's like, I don't. They were like, Muriel Bowser's put the order out. You can walk through here, but you can't like congregate here.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I disagree, and I'm not going to do it, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, she's on the video talking to herself, being like, yeah, I'm like Rosa Parks. And I was like, bitch, you're like Rose Parks.
Ooh. I know
I'm
that
gonna
guy.
tell
That
you right now,
motherfucker
I
owes me
did
$40.
see your comments on that. Hold on.
This bitch. Talking about a person with oh shit.
You know. But bitch, you know how many fucking Februarys I've had to do a Rosa Parks statement on?
Yeah. Well, listen, they're coming through the hood with fucking rap music, telling people to social distance in Baltimore. The NAACP has a flatbed truck with 2 speakers on it, and people dancing around it like we're all fucking coons out here. Like,
Jesus
I swear
Christ.
to God, I want to slap a whole raft of people.
Oh man.
You didn't tell me about the truck, just the cop cars.
I
Like,
only
they got
saw
a
the
truck?
cops, but I just heard about it downtown.
Holy shit.
And there's stories out in the sun.
And the people dancing on the truck.
There's people not on the truck, but on the street. There's
Oh,
people
okay.
following around dancing. I'm like maybe your
like,
outreach,
like the Pied Piper type shit. Like people
like yeah,
Hey.
people on the streets.
just start following the truck.
Yeah.
Can I just say this is the reason why all lives don't matter?
They never did, and they never will.
Like oh god damn it.
That is better than I thought you initially meant
that
to
shit
have
I
people
watched.
dancing on the flatbed beside.
No, that'd be
That'd
fucking
be
dope.
funny.
They got some
Dang.
dancers, put some strippers back to work. I'd be
Yeah.
fucking on it. But
Duh. What are they doing at the house right
Anybody
now?
can tell you
What?
that social
OnlyFans.
distance properly. It's a stripper. T-Bag,
Yo,
do
real
not
quick.
get near me. Do not fucking get near me. You get too close to me, and that guy's gonna come over here who's the size of a refrigerator and break your fucking arm.
yeah,
Right.
no. To
It's like,
wrap
hey,
up,
guy with the sweatpants and no drawers on.
Exactly.
yeah. To wrap back up with OnlyFans, we're talking about what people are gonna do without like anything to do. Tinder's gone up for subscriptions too.
How?
They're pen paling each other. I don't fucking
Yeah,
know.
they actually have extended it so you're not like bound by geographic location anymore.
So yeah, you
I-
have worldwide Tinder now.
I
so you
made
can get
I
your
made
sex
a
chat
prediction.
on.
I made a prediction and it hasn't come true, but I'm thinking we're not out of this yet, so it might. I feel that chat roulette is going to pop back up during all this.
Oh, I
OnlyFans.
forgot
Right
about
down
chat
there.
roulette.
Jerking off?
Yeah.
Man, I've seen a skyrocket of people text like on Google fucking what's it called? Google Trends and shit. I've seen shit about it. Like it just like skyrocketed.
Oh, I gotta tell you this story about chat roulette. Somebody was, I can't remember who I fucking heard this story from. It was definitely somebody at Wonderland, but basically
God.
they were just going through chat roulette and just like, you know, clicking next one, and then they finally got to somebody had they had like a cute dog with a sign, and the sign said, "Show me your tits or I'll kill the dog."
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's a lie, because if the first person was just like, I don't give a shit about no dog, then he has to shoot it and he has to stop being on chat roulette.
Yeah.
I want to see you
I've
kill
come
the
to
dog.
realize-
He's like, I went
Let's
through
do
5
it.
dogs
Let's
this
do
afternoon.
it. Don't talk about it. Be about
After
it.
working in Wonderland, I would tell you right now, that line only has to work one time.
Yep. I'm telling you, man.
It has to work one time, and that's it.
Fuck.
Worth it. You know, and that was a slow afternoon. I don't know how many dogs I fucking killed, but you know, I saw one droopy pair of tits, and nobody.
Yeah, he might have regretted which
Right.
pair of tits it was, right?
Right.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
wait, just that one stupid bitch who's like, don't kill the dog.
Don't kill the dog.
You want
He
to see
pulls
me
them
kill
out,
a
they
dog?
flop
Give
by
me a
ankles.
noose.
Yeah.
The titties are drooping so much she's taking her pants off to show you the titties.
My
Oh,
favorite
God damn it.
chat roulette, there's a guy who's clearly beaten off, and there's an old lady on the other end, and she's doing like, oh my God, but she keeps looking, and she doesn't switch. She's just like, ah! Ah! Ah!
Yeah,
She wanted to check the dick size first.
Yeah,
huh?
she's watching, and like, she's like, oh, this is awful.
What the fuck? Yeah.
Why aren't you done that?
Terrible. How are you? He's still going.
Chappelle.
Oh my God.
No, but John, you also sent that story over to the chat thing about the guy that busted into the Indiana election committee. He just like busted into the Zoom conference that they were doing for the Indiana
Oh, yeah, and he
election
started
committee. He just was
beating off.
jerking off. Just
See?
going
What?
down.
Yeah. So Zoom is
Joe
reckless.
Exotic
Zoom has
there.
no real security at all. So they were trying to do some committee meeting.
Eric, put your dick away.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're trying
real
to
comfortable.
Craziest shit on the internet.
do some government
That's
committee
that. I'm
meeting.
home alone. I'm about to beat my dick pose. Like, let me find the angle. Let me find the angle.
Your legs.
About to rip that bitch off like a piece of celery.
This'll
You-
make it exciting.
Get rid of the video. We're just talking about chat roulette. All right.
If you see that shoulder start moving and shit, it's Eric like.
Yeah.
Honestly, what kind of shit would fucking robots really get? Like, this is some actual Transformers shit. Like, some robot decided to hack all the internet and get information. They wouldn't get anything but porn for real.
Don't
Yeah.
you remember Tay?
Already.
Yeah, real talk.
And
Yeah.
this is why
Don't
the
you remember
aliens
Tay?
won't visit us.
Right.
He turned into a white supremacist neo-Nazi in like an hour.
Oh, you talking about the Twitter chat
A
robot?
Twitter bot.
Yeah.
In China, China has something similar, but it's like closely regulated. It's not allowed to talk about certain stuff. But in America, because we believe in freedom, she turned into the biggest fucking shit posting neo-Nazi. Fuck with you, say whatever.
In
It's
like
gonna
4
piss
Well,
you
because
off.
the AI just learns on what you feed it, right?
Yeah.
It's on Twitter. Yeah.
Like, yo, yeah, I'm fucking Twitter and I'm about to learn shit. Oh,
Learn how to be angry and
Learn how to talk
fucking
It'll be a
controversial.
world-class shit talker. Like, that's about
right,
it.
yeah, you
Yeah.
learn how to argue. Like a bitch.
a lot of Hitler posting, a lot of Nazi shit.
No, I mean, but the 4chan guys purposely trolled the AI.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
100%.
it wasn't that hard. You know,
Yeah, become the new
of all the things that 4chan has done, that was like a layup. That was like a golf putt half an inch from the fucking hole. Like
But
Tay
you
was
know that shit they did to Shia LaBeouf where they like kept
that is
flying
my
the
favorite
flag. That
thing
shit
of
was
the last
epic.
decade.
That is mwah. That Shia LaBeouf.
And we have another election this year. It was supposed to last 4 years, and it's still somewhere in like Poland or something.
Nah, they had every place that they moved it, they found that shit.
But it's in Poland. It's somewhere. It still exists. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, okay.
On the flip side of this, though, to Eugene's point, if an AI was becoming emergent and it was starting to comb the internet to figure out how people think and everything that they do, at least half of what they run across would be nothing but like sex, filth, like fucking, that's what they would see. And so it stands to reason if an AI did emerge and it wanted to conquer us without killing us all, one of the first things that it would do was implant the AI in sex and irresistibly sexy sex robots. Like, it actually makes sense. If that's a learning system and it's learning, it's like, what are these people obsessed with? It would be like sex. It'd be like, well, I can't have sex with them because I'm a machine, but they're like, but they want to make these robots. It would take sex robots, and then they would basically just that would, you'd think that'd be like on a list of 5 things that an AI would try to non-violently conquer people, at least initially. That's on that top 5 list, is sex robots.
Just try to conquer people by just jerking them off all the time.
Jerking them off.
They're making
it's
sex
also-
robots, and
Yeah.
they're actually making it so it defeats the purpose of a sex robot. But they're making it so that you
sex-
need consent before you fuck it, and there's ways to like stop.
That's weird.
It's weird. It's
You
like
know,
what?
look, it's a robot.
woman
If I
at
want
that
to
point.
fuck my, if I want to fuck my iPhone, damn it, I paid for it.
Right?
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
get what
it's
you pay for,
100%.
sure. Real
But
talk, yo.
But if you can fuck your iPhone, that's a different problem.
That reminds me of that SNL skit where they have the car that you can fuck. You guys
Oh,
ever
God.
seen that?
Yeah. I
No,
love that,
I'm
yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
But no.
So the flag is still in France. They took it from
Yeah.
Poland
Okay.
to France,
They took it back to France.
and
but it's
only
still
a
there.
fragment of the flag is still flying.
Yeah, they've stopped fucking with it. But that was the best reality TV show ever.
Well, yeah, because it was the fact that when they relocated it to a place that just had sky in the background, they
Tennessee.
used like flight
Yeah.
tracking and celestial navigation to fucking
36
find it.
hours it took, and they got it down.
I mean, it's one of the most beautiful pieces of internet
Yeah.
fuckery, genius, all of it together. It's just
Yeah,
It's
if
amazing.
you're bored, look up "He Will Not Divide Us." There's like internet historian videos about
Yeah,
it.
the
gives you
internet
the
historian
rundown.
is dope, man.
yeah.
But I wish they had the actual live stream somewhere because there were some clips in there that were fucking gold. Like 2016 was a hilarious year for me. 'Cause I thrive on soul.
Isn't that the year everybody died?
That's the year everybody
Right,
thought
okay.
they were gonna die, and then turns out that they're not gonna fucking die.
Well, no, he's talking about like Prince, David Bowie,
Oh,
like
yeah,
Tom
yeah,
Petty,
people
like
die.
yeah.
Come on. It
I
sucks
don't know.
in terms
Maybe
of
I'm
that,
just a
but
fucking
like,
hater, but I just the weird internet outpouring over people dying that are celebrities that you don't personally know. You know what I mean? It's just like fucking get over yourself. It's like it's not like that person was like in your life like in a significant way.
you know,
You know, there's
All
something
right, here
there's
you
something
go.
tawdry
That's
about it.
that's the I'm too cool and
Well,
I'm gonna
don't
be
you
a
dare
dick
tell
about
me
it.
Robin Williams wasn't in my life.
Let me
Okay.
tell you right now.
Robin
let me tell you right now,
Williams.
I may not have known Prince, but Prince affected me. Robin Williams affected me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Michael Jackson affected me. Fucking Kobe Bryant affected me. Michael
No,
Jordan
I wasn't
affected me.
saying on that level.
No,
but it
I'm
wasn't
saying when people get sad about celebrities dying, that's because there's a specific moment or memory where they were touched by this particular person.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like Kobe dying and all these people who don't know Kobe being all upset. Yes, Kobe's dead. Don't know the motherfucker from a can of paint. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Kobe did something that affected them.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
when Prince died, everybody was all upset and pissed off. It's because it's Prince. He's dead and the ghost can fuck me right now.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it's
like
also
there's-
it's also
there's
especially
feelings
with
and
Prince and Michael
feelings
Jackson
and
and
moments
Kobe,
that are
they could
tied
have lived
to-
longer, right?
Yeah. But even somebody like
We've always
Muhammad
said-
Ali, though, like when Muhammad Ali died, I 100%, I was sad. I know so many people, other people were sad. And that's an extreme example in the sense of just like he was older. He had a health condition, but also it's just like who better epitomized everything about America than fucking Muhammad Ali? Like nobody.
Well, but it's also the sense with all these guys that there will never be another person like that, right?
Well, yeah, well, yes, with certain celebrities.
That's always the moment. That's always the moment of it. Shit happens. Like Kobe's not Jordan. Jordan's not LeBron. LeBron's not Bird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those guys are all just their own separate guys. I'm not looking for another Michael Jordan because we all know now that he is a dick.
Well, we knew he was a dick. I didn't watch the
You know what I mean?
documentary yet, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't know,
I'm just
but
saying, it's one of those things. It's one of those things you have. All right, I'll take one for you right now that I've been waiting for, and I know I'll be really fucked up about. Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
yeah.
You tell me Michael J. Fox doesn't kick tomorrow, and you're not going to be the slightest bit affected.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Also, I feel like I shouldn't be able to pay my cable bill.
I mean, there's
Why do you still have a cable bill? It's 2020, Jamie.
but there's a weird
I'm like
selectivity
cable,
to it too.
motherfucker. I'm old.
Because
Shit.
like people will die and like nobody will notice. You know what I mean? Like Maurice White from Earth, Wind and Fire, super important to me, right? But
Yeah.
but he died and the world blinked an eye. You know what I mean? They didn't.
Yeah.
There was no outpouring. James Brown died, there was not the outpouring that there should have been compared
James Brown
to like
died
or
the
Michael
same
Jackson.
year Anna Nicole Smith died, and they were both super tawdry like situations. Like there was so much contention about their deaths. I do remember those because even as he died, his estate was contested because that man fucked so much. He had kids in almost every state in every part of the world. Like
It was like him and BB King have like 20 kids people know of, or like
that.
something that they know of.
What,
and then
they cremated ODB because they were like, there's so many kids out there.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
They didn't want any DNA.
That's the whole thing. They didn't want DNA for his estate.
That's brilliant. That's
wow. That is brilliant.
I aspire to that fuckery, but it'll have to be in some other aspect.
Not on that level, sir.
I'm not fucking anybody. It's not going to be that. It's going to be for some other reason. They're just going to be like, they're just going to burn this motherfucker.
I'll tell you what, after the last 2 years, I've gone to my fair share of funerals and put a nice little piece of money out. When I die, throw me the fuck away.
Yeah, don't even waste your time.
Put me in a bag. Make it one of them nice like trash bags too, like one of them husky trash bags.
Yeah.
That are scented.
And like let DC Department of whatever the fuck services just throw me the fuck away. Don't nobody want these organs.
Turn me into a brick and put me in this fucked up
I'm
house.
smoking a cigarette right now. Like, look, the liver is shot.
I want that 2-ply Ultraflex.
Mm-hmm. Fuck that.
So Eric, we did talk about maybe fucking talking about this new FF7 remake.
Oh, the remake of Final Fantasy VII? Oh, well, let me just tell you this. I think this is probably my favorite Final Fantasy that's ever been created, mostly because they did take some aspects from they took some aspects from the newest Kingdom Hearts and Advent Children, which they made I think Advent Children came out in like 2010, something like that.
That's like the sort of side story, right?
Yeah, it was like the story version of like what happened past Final Fantasy VII.
Yo, a really good movie too.
I love
it. Really good movie. Yeah, I just spent a lot of money at GameStop trying to buy that bitch. So you do know why Final Fantasy VII was not on Nintendo? It was only on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, because they knew they weren't going to be able to fit it on a fucking cartridge.
Nintendo was still doing cartridges, and they were like, "No, you have to switch to disc." And Nintendo, of course, being Nintendo, was like, "You can go fuck yourself with Nintendo."
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Well, that's why the PlayStation exists, is because Nintendo intended Sony to make a CD system for them, and they backed out of it. They backed out of the deal, and then Sony was like, "Oh my god, dude, we've spent millions on R&D. Fuck you. We're just going to become your competitor now." That is literally the genesis of
we're just going to trash you.
Like that whole PlayStation is just a monster in its damn self. Oh, that shit's crazy. Final Fantasy VII is not my favorite.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to say it too. And yes, I see your eyebrows raised, Eric, but I know you haven't played like all of 1 through 6. So
all right, what is the second one when everyone dies or something like that? Like no matter how you beat the game, everyone just dies. My actual favorite is the 8th one.
Ooh, that's contentious.
It's good.
It's contentious. It's contentious, but I'm always down for the argument. It's
Final Fantasy VII actually isn't my favorite Final Fantasy. If I had to like go with one that has to be my favorite, it would be 10 and 10-2.
You mean with the fake soccer shit?
No, that's the one where Yuffie falls in love with the boy Yusid.
I know which one it is.
I'm gonna go with. I gotta go with 6.
Ooh, 6 is a good one. The conversion of 6 is actually rather hard because apparently they lost a couple of the documents of how to fucking convert it over.
Yeah, they made some mechanics changes too, because there was errors in the original game
For instance, like the evade statistic doesn't mean anything in Final Fantasy VI. So your entire defense is based on magic defense. So it was just a straight bug that they just never got to. But they as they've re-released the game, they've corrected things like that. But I just think story-wise, 6 is a lot more solid. FF7 is not a bad game to me, but to me, coming from the 2D world and having played 1 through 6, I mean, the fact that the Japanese Final Fantasy 3, it's amazing that they fit so much game into that fucking Nintendo cartridge. You know what I mean? Like there's a point in time in the game where you realize that the entire world map you're on is just a fucking island floating in the sky. And then you get opened up to a much larger world map that starts out underwater. The fact that they did that on an 8-bit Nintendo is fucking amazing, you know. But FF7 to me represents a turn away from the fantasy elements of Final Fantasy, and also an emphasis on cutscenes over straight story. And any good RPG really should be a storybook in some sense, which is also why I really like the Lunar series. So, you know, that's just my opinion, you know, but yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
I have to argue. I have to argue that I think that I like the aspect of how they decided to do the game now based off. I mean, this is only 1 episode of probably like 7, and there were only 3 discs in the original game, and all of this initial disc is only the Midgar section of the map, and
no, they're gonna draw that shit out and make it as long as possible because
there have also been aspects that have added to the game, which also adds to the original storyline. I'm not gonna give anything away, but it's a good game. It's a good game.
I don't think that it can be denied, but for me, it represents a sort of thing where Square, since it merged with Enix, you know, has kind of lost its soul. And part of the reason why they decided to do the FF7 remake is because they know that their original content that they make now will never be as good as the shit that they made in the past. And much like Hollywood, they rely on the old IPs because they know they're known quantities, right? And so it's not that it's bad, it's that it's a retreat, right? So, I mean, I think there's a larger issue that in there with our culture too, where it's like, because of the costs of things with multimedia studios, whether it's video games or books or movies, a lot of people are going for the old standards and there's not a lot of innovation and there's not a lot of risk taking because, you know, they just don't wanna. You know, I don't know. What do you think, John?
Oh, I don't play video games.
No, but I know. I'm just saying, right? Like even in Hollywood, right? Like there's a lot of remakes, right? There's not a lot of.
Because when you're putting up that kind of numbers, there's a safety in thinking that there's a broad audience that already exists, so they don't play with that stuff. But it also means they destroyed a lot of old names and like old communities by trying to bring them to a wider audience. So that's as much as I can contribute to that. Because you know, I argue if you're gonna bring back remakes, bring back all the blaxploitation films and just make some fucking high budget hilarious shit, you know. But that's a different story.
I mean, that's not the first time that sentiment has been expressed to me. That it's like it would be so easy to make some dope ass blaxploitation films, and you just don't see it happen. You see like crappy Master P and 50 Cent movies being made.
Yeah, there's a whole weird part of Amazon. Amazon has like a lot of deep cuts, so a lot of those old indie movies still exist. Like the
I think
original...
that Spike Lee still tries to try his hand in doing those type of things, but he also is a little bit of a sellout.
He's mainstream. It's not that he's
not a sellout. He's never been a sellout.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes him a sellout, but he's definitely mainstream.
Yeah, he's mainstream, sure.
Like he pays homage to things. He references things like Black Klansman has so many different references in it, and it's a true story. But yeah, there's a real movie called Black Klansman and has nothing to do with that story. It's just black wish fulfillment from the 70s. Like somebody's
No, it has nothing.
yeah. It's just killing a lot of white people.
I mean, if you watch, you guys ever watch like real grindhouse movies? Not like the
Yeah,
ones that fucking.
that's
Tarantino
what we're
made.
talking about. Those old fucking.
Those are like
They're hilarious.
those
They're
movies
great.
are insane. Like Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah,
It's
Hobo
great.
with a shotgun.
Rutger Hauer. That starts with a guy getting decapitated from a barbed wire noose in a sewer, and then a chick dancing in his blood after it happened. It's hilarious. It is hilarious.
Or even like one of the more famous Grindhouse movies, which was Grindhouse sci-fi, and it kind of helped push his career, which was The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like,
I love that movie.
Like, yeah, dude, it was Grindhouse. It was just like him choking dudes with fucking strands of barbed wire, stabbing somebody with a fucking pole. Like,
I can't remember the name of the dude who plays the announcer, but like he fucking kills that role.
Oh, it's
Oh, that's one of those. That's one of my old man's original conspiracy theories that I remember growing up with.
Yeah.
That's
He was
going
saying
on
that
someplace.
That's what television's going to turn into.
Yeah.
I don't
He
doubt
said
it.
this back in like the 80s. You know what I mean? But if you think about it though, like how close are we to being like, you know what? Let's take a couple inmates real fast, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, the
Drop them on the
population's
island
going to
and
keep
see
growing.
what happens when people stop being, polite.
UFC almost did Fight Island.
Talk about that
talking
Stone
about-
Cold Steve Austin movie where he just gets dropped on the island and there are a bunch of prisoners that have to fucking.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually a decent action film.
Yeah.
Or Death Race.
Death Race.
Yeah, Death Race.
Rollerball.
Rollerball. The original Rollerball is way less fucked up.
The
I'm sorry,
70s,
it's way
yeah,
more
the
fucked up.
70s one is more about like class in an age where, the world has been destroyed and like what merit there is. But yeah, it's still bloody as fuck. Like they still beat
It's
the
bloody as
living
fuck.
shit out of each other the whole
Or
time.
one of the last holdovers, probably one of the, in my opinion, it was the last time it was like a big budget attempt to do a Grindhouse film, but surviving the game, which would have been in the early 90s with Ice-T.
Yeah.
Like that was just
Yeah.
people getting fucking murdered and shot and blown the fuck away. And and it was awesome. It was such a good fucking movie. Surviving the Game is an awesome.
Look at what Buckaroo Banzai,
Yeah.
Great movie.
or what I like to call Bob Portia.
Bob knows martial arts, plays the guitar, apparently speaks a
guitar.
couple languages.
Yeah, no,
Sign
Buckaroo
these
Banzai also
things.
reminds me of Last Starfighter.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, good movie. Good movie.
So when does this just turn into Mystery Science Theater 3000? We start
We need to
streaming
do that. Yeah.
open.
I
Open
I do have a
license
copy
movies.
of Zardoz
Oh
somewhere.
yes.
Yeah, that's another one, man.
One of my personal favorite movies to watch as an adult is fucking Howard the Duck.
Oh man.
I've
dude,
still
that's
never
such a
seen Howard the
fucking-
Duck.
Some odd reason I always forget that she fucks that duck.
She fucks
She
that
totally
duck.
fucked that duck.
80s.
Yeah,
was
she
totally
wild,
fucks
dude.
that duck, dude.
She totally fucked the duck. And I remember, like, and every time it happens, I'm like, oh, that's right. They're about to fuck.
What the fuck?
Oh.
Yeah.
George Lucas, you dumb asshole.
Yeah. No.
He thought he was untouchable, man. But,
Yeah. Well, he took a good fucking. Not only did the guy that wrote Howard the Duck get screwed, Steve Gerber,
yeah.
and it was supposed to be a social satire, right? Like almost like a pre-Doonesbury.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Lucas took that thing and tried to make some like Spielberg-esque fucking heartfelt movie, and it's just like you don't fucking get it, man.
Also has one of the.
You gotta remember though, this movie was made in the '80s. Let's not forget about
A
fucking,
lot of cocaine.
a lot of cocaine.
A lot of cocaine.
lot of cocaine. And anybody who can fucking make a fucking guy murder children can definitely say they did cocaine. Like,
Yeah.
there's just like one comedic bit. It's like, we thrive on on Halloween dressing children up as mass murderers and serial killers?
Yeah.
Right.
How many
Yeah.
kids run around as Darth Vader?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Think about it.
Lot,
Like, it's like,
a
oh,
lot.
he's so cute. He's so cute as Darth Vader. He killed children, bitch. Like,
Blew up an entire
oh,
planet.
he's
Well,
a little
no, but
devil.
it's that-
guy tortures people. Like,
It's you make a very interesting point there where we do have this thing where we idolize the great villains, because on Facebook recently I was posting about how fucking awesome Doctor Doom is, who's easily the model for Darth Vader, like the
Yeah.
masked villain, right?
Yeah.
And dude, it's just like Dr. Doom is a fucking horribly selfish man-child who like never got over being snubbed in college,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just awesome. His pettiness is so awesome. I know Jamie can speak to this, but there's something
bro,
about his
that's chief,
awesome.
that's chief petty officer right
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
Like, that's
It's-
Petty LaBelle in full range. You know what I mean?
I'll be
I'm personally, I guess, like every warm-blooded American and shit, I have a sick fascination with the mafia and fucking serial killers.
Yeah.
So, but it's something about the bad guy winning.
You know, that's funny.
You know what I
because
mean?
my sisters, my
Like when you take, like for me, Star Wars, right? Empire Strikes Back, best one. You walk out the theater and you're just like, yo, they won.
They won. And then also,
that-
think about the biggest song of last year that probably sold the most copies, or at least one of the top three, was a song with Billie Eilish singing. The chorus was "Duh, I'm the bad guy,"
Right.
and it had
Right.
like a fucking super villain haunted house backing track, and that made it sold so many people loved it immediately. It was super
Right.
catchy. Everybody like it's one of the
How
top
old
three
is Billie
songs of
Eilish?
last
Wait, what?
Not
I
old
mean, the
enough
bad
yet.
guy, the rogues gallery, as they say. Take Batman. Batman has by far the best rogues gallery.
Yeah.
That is why Batman is always number one.
Right, like the
You know what I
Joker.
mean?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, it ends and begins with the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
who
Best
actually
villain of
they
all
tried
time.
to kill off. One of the original editors at Action. Sorry, was literally like, no, this guy's stupid. Let's kill him off. And they were like, no, let's wait a while. And
Yeah.
now the Joker's the Joker.
Yeah, no,
You know?
he's the
But-
best villain of all time. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. He has no rhyme or reason.
Yeah, okay, so here's an
Yeah.
interesting question. Joker versus Doom. I gotta go with Doom, man.
Yeah, Doom kills him.
I'm going Joker all day.
Nah,
Joker
Doom.
all day.
Oh,
Dude,
like
Doom
who
has
you
so many
like
powers.
or
He can
what?
transfer his consciousness into somebody else's mind by looking at them.
We're talking about powers.
Totally fine. But what's
Yeah.
he gonna
Talking
do?
about
Doom's gonna fuck up. Doom's gonna fuck up and go the terrible wheelhouse of the Joker's mind
Yeah, and he won't be able
and come out insane.
Yeah.
Has Dr. Doom ever literally spent a year torturing a Robin?
Mm-hmm.
True. Joker's got the mentality where he's gonna like find out Doom's pettiness and like use that against him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think Jamie's phone froze.
Jamie's a robot.
He's a robot. Goddamn.
I got to give that to him though, because like Doom is super powerful, but it's like Joker, he's like hyper rational, right? Like
Mhm.
he has the smarts, but he also has like the
Is he still trying to say the same fucking sentence?
yeah. It's just
that's it. There's the reason
Yikes.
Jamie, you're going all Max Headroom on us.
Oh shit! What?
Auto-tune right now.
Mhm.
the ultimate bad guy because there's no rhyme. There's no can't.
You hear this, bro?
Hey.
Yeah, there's a reason to his madness though, right? Like, and that's I
Go
think
robot.
why that
Give me a second,
Joker
guys.
movie really hit home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's always been, because honestly, the whole reason Joker's the best is he's just Bruce Wayne, like without the boner for not killing people. Like
Yeah.
he he goes to the same extremes Bruce Wayne does, but for proving that Bruce Wayne is a dick. Like, honestly, if you're a multi-billionaire, there are better things for you to do with your money than go around beating up guys who are breaking into warehouses at night. Like, I love Batman, but when people try and break it down into like meta explanations, it destroys the whole thing. Because you're like, if you have billions of dollars, you can literally change the whole city around you.
Yeah.
Right.
I like moving to
But he
Baltimore.
would
I
rather
started to
beat you to an inch of your life. He's not going to kill you.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm
mean.
just
Like,
gonna.
that's just some weird fetish activity, and like,
No, it's true.
you know, it's just some fucking kink he has, and the Joker knows it, and he's like, "Fuck this dick, let's jump off the internet and show him he's a fucking asshole."
Well, but like, think about that Frank Miller scene in the Love Tunnel, right, with the Joker, where where he's like, he wants him to kill him.
He wants him to go all the way. Yeah. Yeah, that's kink activity. That's fucking BDSM.
But there's also an aspect to the Joker that's like very MacGyver-ish, right? Like the Joker can get more done with a fucking hand tub of gasoline and a lighter.
What does he kill
than
Robin
Batman
with?
can do
Just
with millions
a
of
golf
dollars,
club.
right?
Yeah. He picks up a golf club and beats a little kid to death.
Hold on, man. Isn't like the whole theme about like most of Batman basically like mental instability? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been driven insane by vengeance. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, when you do think about it, like, I think I was talking about somebody who's like, cause like I feel like that's like the whole purpose of the Joker, and I feel like that's what I was like trying to coming back to, with Bruce Wayne, like with Batman being like part of the reason why the Joker is so cool in the first place. Like I feel like that whole like hero villain relationship is part of the reason why it's even so like serious in the first place. Because when you just got the hero, like Superman, he's fucking corny. You can't find a good villain because he's never having a really, really good fight except for Doomsday.
Nah, dude, Lex Luthor all the way.
Well, yeah, well, true, yeah. Plus Lex Luthor and fucking Brainiac and shit like that. But people don't know shit like that.
Yeah, but for Superman, every time he's in, like Batman has his belt. That's one thing to have a gadget for every situation. But every time Superman runs into a problem, he just has a power that appears for that specific problem.
Well,
there's a whole website that catalogs it.
The same power as most of the time. The fact that the overall aspect of Superman's strength is that he has the power to overcome anything. That's the whole aspect of his abilities.
Right.
Yeah, but Superman is smart too. He is like a scientist. You know what I mean? Like that was pointed out if you ever read
it's like
Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman.
He
gone deep into the vault, and then I think I'm gonna cut out with you guys. There's a website. It used to be called superdickery.com.
Oh yes, most definitely.
And it was just like a catalog of all the times in the comics where Superman was a fucking asshole.
Well, I mean the Bat Dickery is known well too in the internet, right?
Yeah, he throws like Jimmy into the sun. He like cheats on Lois, but makes her think that she's like a bad wife. Like he walks out on his whole family.
Yeah. The shit he does to Lois, especially in that, what was that 70s comic, Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane or whatever,
something like that.
Oh, when she turns black.
I don't remember that one. That's gotta be.
You never. Oh, so the whole if it's like Lois Lane gets turned like by whoever. Like, if he's still gonna love me. Like,
Jesus.
Have you seen Watermelon Man?
This one.
We're talking about old ass movies, but Watermelon Man's a great
Watermelon Man, dude. Holy shit.
I love that movie.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah.
Well, hold up.
I am. I know. He kills his cousin.
What did he do to Superman?
Look at the tweet. He tweets it.
He's a fucking dick.
Asshole.
The tweet heard around. Again, also, that man gets found out in every single movie he has. He gets found out in the first one. He gets found out in Batman Returns. He gets found out in what was it? What's the one with Two-Face and Jim Carrey?
Oh, Batman Forever.
Batman Forever. Which
Can I
was
say
my favorite
I
Batman
hate-
most of my life.
Are you serious?
I hate
Batman
that way
for
because
oh,
Batman
God,
is a
Jeff.
whiny
So
ass
ridiculous.
bitch in that movie.
Oh yeah,
Like
he's
that's the part where like
like
he goes to therapy.
he goes to therapy with Nicole Kidman's his therapist. I would have been there every week on time.
Val Kilmer was fucking hilarious.
Val Kilmer was great.
I mean, it was a
Yeah.
good soundtrack.
It was
Yeah,
the best
Kissed
Batman
by a Rose.
soundtrack.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, that
Motherfucking-
Method Man
This
song about the
motherfucker.
Riddler was also tight.
I forgot about that song.
Oh my god!
Mhm.
That is
Did
hilarious.
you play that before?
Oh, man.
Should we play that the
Guys,
Method Man Riddler song?
I apologize. I've got a 4-year-old to feed.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
gotta
all
go
good,
too.
baby.
I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta jump off.
appreciate it,
as
guys.
well.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, it
on.
wasn't
We
bad.
showed
It was
me
pretty
that
fun.
invite.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks so
I'll
much,
catch you guys
Jamie.
later.
Hey, peace,
Later.
guys.
It's about time for us to wrap up anyway. We've been at it for a while. Even our
Yeah.
host is gone. Where's Anyway, let me punch up the theme song. Thanks everybody for joining us for Ain't Shit News. I am DJ Two Coats. We've had Bennett Elliott. Be sure to check out his new novel at proudabyss.com. Damn, Kwame just rolled before I could give him a shout out. And Eugene Botchway, what you got a website, dog?
No, right now, but I got y'all.
Okay, we'll get there. Me too. I'm also sleeping on it. Eric, what is the name of the YouTube channel, sir?
So right now, you can find all of this info, especially tonight. It's gonna be on my personal YouTube channel. It's just / Eric Baskerville. Be posting all of this stuff.
on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Okay.
be posting all this stuff tonight, and then eventually, either tonight or tomorrow, I'm gonna be changing it to our actual, to our channel's page, and well, to our channel's name, and it's gonna be Ain't Shit News.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us for Ancient News. I'm just going to play us out here. We will be back next week with some more topics, and I'm sure we won't get quite as nerdy as we got today, and we'll probably have some more, crazy white people to talk about as the protests continue. Wash your fucking hands. Thank you everybody for coming on. I'll see you guys next Saturday, okay? Oh, dude, Eugene, I thought your friend was passed out the whole time. You didn't move. You didn't move for the longest.
Yeah, man, zombie.
Yeah, I'm talking about you, son.
Let's get a